Welcome to my fourth video. So this is a very interesting video because yesterday I actually started up a website and I figured if I'm going to go full all in, I gotta start getting a website and get things going. So even though I have no clue how to get a business fully up and running because I have had two full businesses fail on me. So clearly I've been a failure at business. Life lessons. We're going to try it from the start. We're going to go step by step. So my new business will be called divinityvirtue.com. Essentially, what I want to do is I want to help people not only possibly awaken to letting life happen. I want people to start meditating. I want people to start eating healthy. I just want to get back to the basics. I think when people were at the basics, we were just happier in life. So, as I was upstairs, it was very interesting. Grabbing myself a cup of tea, and the doorbell rings. And I never ever answer the door or the phone. I'm just that guy. I don't want to be bothered anymore. I'm just trying to find calmness in my life. So I figure, you know what? I'll go answer the door. And sure enough, two Mormon girls preaching the gospel of God. And I'm just thinking, I'm going to entertain this conversation because I know that I'm going through my spiritual awakening. Sometimes it's very tough. You just gotta believe that every day is already set out for you, and that essentially you just have to control your mind and your thoughts. And the people that come and interact with you are trying to tell you something. And I've been always wondering because I know that right now I'm in either path two or path three. And there's a place in the Bible that says, like, there's always two sides to a story. So at the end of the day, my second path will be with my truest, truest love, my twin flame. But she also walks with the devil. So she has to learn to give up clout, money, and addictions, where I have to learn how to give up ego. I gotta be more disciplined, more controlled, and be willing to sacrifice everything that life has to offer. So it's one of those interesting scenarios, Do you choose for love or do you choose yourself? And that's going to be the life lesson. That's what God has for me planned. And at the very end of the conversation with these two girls, I believe I shouldn't even say her name, but the sister, I guess they call themselves. She goes, there's a place in the Bible that says you have to learn to love yourself before you can learn to love others. So at the end of the day, let's just keep moving forward. This is a video game. We signed up for this. Everything happens for a reason. Just walk the path, go, what am I supposed to learn here, and try to do it the right way. So I'm going to go with some other stories just because it's story time in my world and I love to tell stories. So I believe that I have seen Jesus. And this is interesting because when I first lost everything to my first girlfriend, I took all my money and decided just to travel the world and just have fun. And I can remember being on a Greyhound. I think I was going from Austin, Texas to Houston, Texas. It was Houston. So, anyways, we're in Houston, and me and this girl, we're sitting beside each other. The whole bus was of color. I was the only one not of color. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because they brought up a lot of things about how the white man did this or yada yada yada. So, we all have a different view of what has happened to us in life. So, we can't judge whatsoever. And the funniest part is me and this girl, different colors, of course. We're sitting in Houston. We're just at the bus stop. Very rough terminal, just drugs everywhere, riddled with gangs. You name it, it was rough. But there was a church right across the street, which was interesting. And then as we're sitting in the restaurant, this guy, long brown hair, wearing a dirty robe, strings around his waist, a big walking cane, his flip flops were made of like string and something else. It was handmade, but he had a guitar and he left it in the restaurant. And me and the girl go over as he leaves, go over, grab the guitar, hold it for a minute or two, and then we find him and give it back to him. And he goes, most people would have stolen that. How come you didn't? And we just both looked at him and said, we're not here to hurt anyone. We just want to make sure everyone has a good life type thing. And he goes, that's really good. He goes, that's interesting. And so we, we, we kind of talk for a little bit, but we part ways. Typical, typical. So here's the interesting part is that me and the girl were waiting for the next transfer to the next bus. I don't know where we. Oh, I was going to Mardi Gras. Yeah, traveling quite the world apparently. And so we're sitting there, and like I said, there was a church across the street. Big cross, just lit up. And this guy, just at the right time, right moment, sat down right in front of it. And I can't explain this. It's like if you've been to the Houston Greyhound station, there's seats, there's the window, and then there's the buses, there's a church, and then there's a cross right there. So if you can imagine that. And the way he sat down, the light only came on him there. And I looked at the girl, she looked at me, she goes, are we looking at Jesus? And I said, you know, we might be. And then he just gets up and he goes, God bless you guys. Hmm, all right. If we didn't see Jesus, we just saw the guy who just did drugs for his entire life and Jesus of some sort. Anyways, that was an interesting story. But then I'm going to go on the opposite end. I have actually talked to the devil. And this is interesting. I don't believe that the person was the devil. I just believe that his soul was so dark and that he practiced very dark that he was easily turned. And I can remember talking to him. And I remember when he would ask me a question. And it shook me to the core. And I said, I'm not going to answer that for you. But I went home and I thought about it. And I said, nah, I'm not going to give up that part of my life, that morale to have the whole world. And it's like when he talks to you, he asks you a question, but he makes it sound like it's all about you. You. You can have this. You can do this. You will get whatever you want. You just need to do this. And it was interesting to see because I don't know. I watched his eyes turn. My friend even said he's the devil. It's not that he was the devil, but he definitely had demonic possessions within inside of him. And I think when you try to go through your spiritual awakening, you get tested quite uniquely. Quite uniquely. Side fact is I can also tell you the second time that I saw that same guy, we were at a bar, and this little girl, she's just a fun little drunk. She just does her thing. I've never seen her aggressive, and either have her friends. As she passed him, she immediately turned, came, ran at me, said, get away from me. I've seen your eyes. You're the devil, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I don't know who you are. We've never talked. This is very crazy. And the funniest part is, I knew everyone at that bar that night. It was my friend's birthday. And they all come up to me and they go, what just happened there? And I said, I don't know. But the one girl, I said, do you see who's in the bar? She goes, yeah. I said, do you remember that night? She goes, where we thought he was the devil? She goes, yeah. I'm like, When he passed that girl, that's when she turned and came at me. And she goes, "That did just happen." And I said, "Isn't that interesting? He just got possessed." And then, no lie, 2 minutes later, we all go back in the bar. That little girl comes up to us and introduces herself. And I go, "Don't you remember what you just said to me outside like 2 minutes ago?" And she goes, "I've never met you a day in my life." And I go, "Huh, is that ever interesting?" And the funniest part is I've seen that same guy, and it just seems that now he's not really in the scene. He kind of seems to be looking at himself a lot more. And I don't know if that's just because it's good versus evil in this world. I don't really know. I'm going to tell you, there's always two sides to the story. That being said, like I said, started up a website yesterday, Divinity Virtue, divinityvirtue.com. So I want to start up a consulting, health, wellness. Let's just try to help each other go forward. Everyone's got a different journey, a different path. We probably want to change one or two things. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. So, God bless, divine timing. Gotta take your losses to become the boss. Try to be 1% better every day. You know, Thank you very much. Amen.